Hello everybody, Tom Matuska with Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company, Thursday afternoon live. And I have the great pleasure of being with my daughter as my producer and co-partner today. Brett Wingfield is hunting antelope in almost Utah. I don't think he's quite there yet. And so we're going to host today's Thursday Live.
I'm the sub. It's been a while. Been a long while.
Oh.
Let's try it out. What are we doing today?
Well, last week, if you can remember, I think the last 2 weeks, we did the Goldeneye project, and here's what we've done so far. I think the first day we put some rocks on, we made some, or put some foam on, made some rocks. We set up the bodies for you, and it's kind of a nifty way to do birds, because you can see the balance of the bird, you can see the stance of the bird, you can take the bill off and paint it ahead of time, you can take the feet off and paint it ahead of time, and it's just a clean, easy way to do a bird. And like I've told you a dozen times, people like me that do not have a long attention span can mount a bird, because they don't have to do it all at one time. They can get both birds set up, like in this instance, do the base one day, do the drake another day, skin him another day. You know, you can kind of break them up into bite-sized pieces, which works really good for me. But this is what we've done so far. We still have the rock to finish. We're going to paint that rock probably sometime between now and next week. And this is going to be a snow scene. It's going to be a cold weather scene. We're going to have some snow, and you like snow on bases, and
I do.
You keep coming up.
I thought we were going to mold that first.
Oh, you mold that. And we're going to have some ice on there and icicles. Apologize for last week if I mumbled, because my dewlap, I think, was hanging over my microphone. So let us know if I'm sounding better today, because you get all that floppy skin and clothes and stuff. And
Is that what it was?
so if you can hear us, give us a thumbs up. And hearts. Do we still get hearts?
You still get hearts and bubbles.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So these birds are actually drying, and the drake's feet, he's wired down through the feet, and that just goes right down onto the base, and he will slide up and down like that, which is really nice because we can take him off and work on the base without worrying about getting mache on him or paint on him, things like that. And we showed you on the hen last week where we used the square stock. She doesn't have, her feet aren't really on the rock. This one's kind of just rested in a relaxed position a little bit. So we use square stock, and she goes up like that in a square tubing and square stock that we use on fish a lot, but it worked really good on this. And she drops right back into position, and she's on there nice and sturdy. He's on there nice and sturdy.
What will you use to hide that little piece right there?
I didn't know it was there, and I don't think anybody would have seen it if you hadn't brought it to their attention.
I think it's the angle.
I think we can just build a little mache up there if we have to, a little moss, or we're going to do some snow, so that would be a perfect place to build up a little bit of snow, you know? See, you thought you were going to derail me with that old tricky question, didn't you? Today, and you probably saw in our advertisement for today, this is going to be a snow scene. It's going to have icicles coming off the cliff, and there's a lot of different ways to make icicles, and there's some really not so realistic icicles. So we're going to show you how to make a really nice icicle that you can use over and how to make a mold, and you can use that icicle over and over and over and over, that mold over and over, to make hundreds of icicles if you want to. So that's what we're going to do today. The product we're going to use is silicone rubber. These are all silicone molds, rubber molds that we've used. This is a leopard jaw, and silicone comes in basically two types. It comes in a platinum cure, and it comes in a tin cure. And tin cure is very user friendly, and if you've never used silicone before and you're purchasing it for the first time, start with the tin cure. It's easy for anybody to use, and it's not complicated. The platinum cure can be a little bit finicky. It can be contaminated easily, and you can have adverse results. This is a leopard jaw set. Another thing with silicone is like silicone caulk that comes out of the caulk tubes, and some people make molds out of that. We're going to use one where we mix a catalyst with it, but another thing with silicone, it comes in different shores, and people refer to it as what durometer is it? But a durometer is not what it is. A durometer is a tool, the instrument to measure how hard it is. Shore is the hardness. This is a probably like a 60 shore. Now that's like a hockey puck, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Compared to this one is pretty firm, and it's probably a 40 shore. This one.
Do you pick the colors, or are the colors to tell you the different shores?
Different companies have different colors, I think, to tell you the different shores. And this is softer. This is probably a 30. And what we're doing today, we're going to use a 20, which is a real soft one. So depending on what these are, fish fin molds. And any of you people that do a lot of fish, if you can have several different varieties of fish fin molds, once you have the mold, it's really easy to make nice clear fish fins. Anybody can make them, and you can make really nice ones. That indexes together real good. You're going to pour your whatever color, well, guess we better do it like that. You're going to pour whatever color fin you want down in that tube.
Does it have to be this thick? Because it doesn't seem like there's that much.
I like it a little bit on the thick side. That way it doesn't separate. Doesn't have to be, but I like it a little on the thick side. Like
and you got little grooves, like a mouse house.
And those are called sprues. And you can pour, if you ever did model cars come like this. They come with a sprue and little canals that go to every little part. So what we can do on this is pour the casting material down in there, and it will go to every single fin. You just keep filling it up. So that's three different varieties of silicone rubber. And silicone's just great stuff. The more you use it, get yourself a little sample. We have a 20 shore silicone rubber, RTV silicone, and it's an easy to use, very, very friendly silicone.
It's like our mini modeling kits that we're going to be selling in our super kit.
You do have something like that coming up, don't
Molding
you?
kit. It's a mini molding kit and a super molding kit to get you started. Would that be the same?
That would be great for not just taxidermists wanting to learn it, but for taxidermist children who you want them to do something educational. Working with rubber and casting material, we did with your daughter Quinn.
She brought that over to Julie and Chris's house last night.
Did she? We made,
Fred.
She had a little turtle, and we had a paperweight mold, and we poured clear scenery resin in the paperweight mold, and poor little Fred, the painted dried up turtle, is now in
he was smelling pretty bad.
Paperweight, but not anymore, right?
No, it's pretty now.
Okay, to start with, we need something to make a mold of. Now, I have made molds out of real icicles. I made beautiful molds out of real icicles, but you got to work quick because they melt. And I made mine out of wax. But a little bit easier way is taking rubber, or taking a clay, and this is a oil-based clay, and making that into an icicle. I'm going to make one, then I'm going to give you some.
Okay.
So,
Now I'm nervous.
No. The worst thing is you can make something that doesn't look like an icicle. Icicles don't have any squareness in them, so we're going to want to get rid of the square parts. I got some cellophane. So icicles tend to be tapered. Now I have used, there is a root like a carrot. I'm not sure what it is. Some of you people out there would know. Looks like a carrot, it's white. That's icicle shaped, and it makes really good prototypes to make your rubber molds out of. Carrots can work too.
Obviously, icicles melt, real ones. Could you mold it fast enough before it melted?
I took and this worked really, really well. I took a real icicle and I melted beeswax on top of water, and the wax floats to the top. I took the real icicle out of the freezer, dipped it, which immediately hardened up the wax, and then I did it a couple more dips. I snipped off the top when it was hard, filled it full of scenery resin, let it set up. That mold is done for. You only get one icicle out of that mold, but it worked, you know. This is something you can use over and over and over. So I've got an icicle like so. They're not perfectly tapered, so put a little texture into them. I'm going to just make some little lumps and bumps on my icicle, which are going to refract the light and make it look a little more realistic. And then we're going to put a little twist in it. I like a little twist in my icicles. Now, picture this as sparkling clear when it's done.
It's like it's in Elsa's castle.
Okay? Show me what you can do.
Oh.
And we need all sizes. Now you can use the tip of one, you know, you can cut them and break them and do different parts of them. And we'd actually like them, make them about that long.
I can do it.
Or less.
I can do it. Did you know Wednesday, Caitlin was telling me, is National Play-Doh Day?
Oh yeah. We should be making them out of Play-Doh, shouldn't we?
Mine got a little skinny.
What you see is what you're going to get in a clear version.
I think I missed my calling.
Now, the thing with silicone rubbers, it's reasonable. The tin cure is a little bit more economical than the platinum cure. And I think a quart of it is probably $50. So that's kind of expensive. So you want to make sure what you're making a mold of is worth the effort. Now we probably have a quart in a fin mold, so we have a $50 fin mold here. But if you are mounting a smallmouth bass, for instance, and you need some fins, and you can make as many as you want. You can make them over and over and over and over.
How many pulls can you get out of that?
Oh, I'd say out of the fin molds, you can get at least a couple hundred, I'm going to say.
And is it better to do it and not stop, or do they have a life on them that you can pull it out in 10 years and get the same amount out?
Now, that's a question that you have learned from experience in making bird heads, I know. What she's referring to is silicone has a library life, and especially the tin cure. And library life means that if this were a book and I make a mold of it and put it back on the bookshelf, and 6 months from now come down and make another cast of the fins, put it back on the bookshelf like a library, you're not going to get as many pulls. If you leave it out and make one after another after another after another, you might get 150 sets of 4 fins. If you keep putting it on the shelf and don't use it for 6 months to a year, you may only get 30. And that's called library life. So yes, it is a very good idea to make as many as you have time for or can and store the pieces that you make.
Do you spray it with something before?
With these, we're not going to spray them with the clay, and they will come out just fine. With the fins, we usually will, two different things. We'll use either a powder mold release, or we'll use a isocoat, or there's a whole lot of aerosol mold releases. Did you do this one?
Yeah, I got
that's
long
not bad.
nails. I keep leaving nail marks.
Okay, now
Not bad. That's like really good.
we're going to make these in a cup. And that cup mold, once it's done, we will take that cup mold, make the icicles. Next week, we'll probably show you how to make the icicle itself, because the mold has to cure overnight. And all of these different silicones have a different working time rate and a different cure rate. And a working time rate means how many minutes do you have to actually work with it before it starts setting up. That's kind of important. This would, for us to set this up and get the icicle prototypes in there, is probably going to take us 20 minutes, half hour. By the time you mix it and everything, let's say 45 minutes. If it were something that is going to be real intricate that we have to work with, and you could actually, spend more time, depends on how fast it sets up, might not give you enough working time.
Can you vacuum seal to store the mold?
I don't know about that. That's a very good idea. Put it in a vacuum packer. I know people have put different things in the freezer, and I don't know if that works so well either.
Seems like that would ruin it. Interested, Jig and Jim. I haven't seen Jig and Jim's name for a while. Interested in casting a fish head for customers who catch pink salmon on the north shore of Superior. These are 2 to 4 pound salmon. Have fun.
There's a good way and there's a fast way. The fast way is to take that fish, a fish that you want to make the head of, we used to do it all the time, and suspend it in a container of alginate. Alginate is dental casting material, like they make molds of your teeth to make braces and things like that. That's the easiest way, and you will get 1 to 2 pulls out of the alginate. Alginate's reasonably inexpensive. If I had a lot of fish to do like that, I would make an alginate mold. I would pour auto body putty in there, roll it around, pull my Bondo head out, and then I would sand it and fill any air bubbles and make it as perfect as I could. Then I would make a silicone rubber mold of the one that I reworked.
An alginate just comes in 1 pound. That's enough to do that?
Yeah. But that's what I think any of the good suppliers of fish heads, Gary Bruck, for instance, I'm assuming, I don't know Gary's process, but if it were me, I would make a fat fish head first, and then I would perfect it by filling it, because even though it's, it was caught reasonably fresh, by the time you get it, it is wilted here and there, and you might have to touch it up a little bit. Okay, now we're going to take, these are just little upholstery pins, is that what they're called?
Yep.
We use them in the shop a lot. They're a heavy-duty pin, and we want to hang these little guys. So go ahead and stick these in there. Mm-hmm. And we want them all to hang about the same spot.
Okay.
If you can line them all up like that. Here's some more upholstery pins. And you can use a little wire. You can do any method. You'll come up with your...
Why are your upholstery pins cut off at the ends?
Well, because the last time I tried doing this, I poked them in and I poked them out the side. And it was kind of hard feeding that long old point down there.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to want something to support them. Since I'm making it in a cup, I'm going to want something to support them. Some of you people that do a lot of molding for a living are probably laughing at everything I'm doing here. But we can take this now, and we can stick it through there like that, and we can suspend it down. Good idea?
Yeah. Couldn't you get 2 on there? No?
Yes, we could. And your job is going to be to put 1 or 2 on them and keep them separated and keep them from the side of the cup.
Got it.
I grew up molding different things, and the reason I'm using a stick, to back up a little minute, is rather than a wire, is a wire will tend to roll. This won't roll.
Oh.
I grew up molding things.
I grew up watching him mold things.
Remember we did faces for Halloween?
I do.
That was terrible.
Not me though. I was a smart one.
And Mark poured that plaster and it went up my nose, and I had straws in my nose, and then straws went out. Yeah.
Hair came off?
Yeah, all my eyebrows, all my hair, the plaster went up in my hair. It was terrible.
Oh yeah.
We moved and we finally threw those molds away, but they were pretty good.
I was the one that watched and laughed.
And we don't need to make them all. If you can get 5 in there, that's perfect. Okay. Using the silicone molding rubber. Oh, a crisscross one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So you need to work back here more often. You're very good at this.
Oh, I think I'd get fired from everybody else.
Okay, and this is like marshmallow, melted marshmallow that you put on ice cream or something.
They're not touching.
Now it's very important when you mix your silicone rubber, it needs a catalyst to set up. This is the catalyst, it's RTD catalyst. And you have to put catalyst into the rubber to make it set up.
Dwight says, what about morel mushrooms?
I used to make a lot of morel mushrooms.
I used to make
You
one
used to
too.
make them. We molded a lot of morel mushrooms.
Those were awful.
And what I would do was I'd take a little board and cut the morel mushroom off, fresh morel mushroom off at the bottom. We like to use melamine, like countertop material or cupboard material. And I would super glue the mushroom just as he would grow out of the ground. Then I would cut the top out of a cup like this. Then, this is morel mushrooms 101.
All the molds were like that. I forgot about that.
And then I would take a paper cup like so. I'd put it over the morel mushroom, and then I would just hot glue around the bottom. And then we would pour the rubber in here, and we usually put them in a vacuum chamber to suck, because morel mushrooms have so many little cells in them, little chambers, to suck the bubbles out. We put them in a vacuum chamber, which I will be doing to show you, and all the bubbles would come out, and we'd let it set up. Take it out, take this off. You now have a rubber cone. We would slice it down the side with a scalpel, open it up, get the mushroom out, and the mushroom usually came apart, and we'd have to blow it out with water.
That was awful.
And once it dried, we'd put it back together and pour casting material in there and pull out a perfect mushroom. You made a lot of them.
They were awful to make.
They don't come out as easy as an icicle would, because there's so many chambers in there.
And we stain them.
And we only would get a dozen out of a mold or less, so we were always remolding them.
Yeah.
And when it wasn't mushroom season, we didn't have fresh mushrooms. So, okay, now, when we're going to mix this is very important. Pay attention. The first thing I would do is zero your scale. If you're using a big cup like this, weigh the cup, because it'll make a difference. That cup weighs almost an ounce, so I put my zero over on the scale. Now I can weigh this, and it's going to give me only the weight of the material inside, and we're at, I'm going to say almost 26. I'm at 25 and a half. We're going to say 26. We're going to put in 10% catalyst per this. So 26 ounces, we're going to put in 2.6 of the catalyst.
Makes sense.
And double check yourself on your arithmetic, because you can accidentally move over a zero and make a mess of things. So I want 2.6, and always shake this up. It'll settle out. It's got color in it. Make sure you shake the catalyst out. Okay, I'm a touch over, which is good. That's going to make sure it sets up. 2.6 hardener into 26 ounces. And now that has to be stirred up very well. And for today's purposes, I'm just going to use a stick. But a lot of times we'll use a whipping stick. We make a lot of our driftwood and rock molds out of silicone rubber. We actually have a big mixer for that purpose. But make sure you have a clean stick. And you don't want any marbling in here. You want it really nice and mixed real well. And this particular kind will be kind of a mint green color.
So if it comes out sticky, what I do wrong and that doesn't set up?
Shouldn't happen.
Not enough hardener though, would that be?
Maybe. It could be goopy. We have people sometimes that make a mold and they said it's not setting up. It's not sticky, but it's not set up. You can, okay, RTV means room temperature vulcanizing. Room temperature?
Didn't know that.
RTV, room temperature vulcanize. And what it means is room temperature to turn it into rubber. There are rubbers that you bake too. Now, if this didn't set up on me, I sometimes put them in the oven.
Oh.
Or if I'm in a hurry and I don't want to wait, I'll put them in the oven. On the lowest setting our oven here has is 170, and I'll put it in there, and I don't want to leave them in there too long, but I'll leave it till the whole mold is nice and warm, let it cool, and if you didn't put enough catalyst in, it should be still be good.
And what if you put too much hardener in? Does that hurt?
It'll shorten your time. I think it weakens your mold.
Doesn't give it as much stretch?
And I don't think you'll get as many parts out of it. And it seems to be a little harder too. It's best to come as close as you can, but warming it up if you didn't put enough in is good. If you put a little too much in, it's just maybe not going to make as many parts. Now, as I'm doing this, make sure, I'm going to try to scrape the sides real good. Make sure I don't have any white unmixed material down there. And as I'm pouring, sometimes we're going to pour that in here. Sometimes as I'm pouring, I'll see marshmallow color, kind of stripy white and green. I will immediately stop and mix up some more to make sure that it's all mixed good. Now, different shores are more difficult to mix. Usually the platinums can be very hard, like 80 shore, maybe 60 shore. That's going to be as hard to mix as caulk out of a tube, really hard to mix. We like, the one we sell in the supply catalog is 20, and look how easy it is to mix. And people have tried to, say use this, it's much better for, a lot of the things we do around the shop. When you have to mix and wear yourself out trying to mix, it's not fun. This is a great product, and it mixes. Look how easy it mixes.
Very nice, looks smooth.
Okay, now, some silicones require, but not all, degassing. As I mixed and as I poured it out of the container, I whipped bubbles into there. So there are bubbles in there, even if you can't see them. And right now, as we're talking, they're floating up to the top, and they're going to pop. The rubber that we carry in the supply company does not need to be degassed, and you should be able to make molds with it without bubbles interfering. Now, some of the rubbers are too thick and the bubbles get trapped down there, so you might have this beautiful, perfect bird head or morel mushroom or whatever it happens to be, and when you pull the prototype out, there's a big bubble that's stuck right in the critical place. Those type of rubbers need to be degassed, and to degas them, you'll want a vacuum chamber. This is a simple vacuum chamber made out of a PVC coupling. It has a piece of rubber on the top and the bottom, and then plexiglass is not strong enough. You actually need Lexan, and this is 3/4 inch Lexan. And I have a vacuum pump over here, and I can pull 29 inches of mercury. You can buy these, any of the companies that sell resins and casting materials online. You can buy a vacuum chamber. Now when I turn it on, I have a gauge over here, and I'm going to watch that, and it's going to take 2-3 minutes for it to pump and suck this down all the way down, and as it's doing it, it's going to take air out of there, and I'm going to have bubble-free rubber, which is going to give me a very nice mold. So we're going to take the container of rubber, put it in the vessel here.
You do that before and after you pour?
You can do it you can do it now, and I'm going to have you pour it in. And I think we probably won't do that just because we're going to bump these.
Got
so
it.
we're just going to do it one time. If a lot of times if I'm making a bird head or something, I will degas my material, put the bird head in, and I'll degas that also.
Don't tell them your secrets.
No. Okay, now this, I got a valve over here. I'm going to close my valve. Now this hose is sucking air out of this, and you'll be able to see, I'll put a straight edge on here, and you'll be able to see just how this hard Lexan material actually dishes in when you pull 20. A vacuum goes by inches of mercury, and they refer to it as, instead of PSI, you're pulling 29 inches of mercury.
How long do you leave it in? What's the time?
I'm going to watch it, and I do have to watch it because it's going to start boiling like water, and it's going to start raising up out of my container, and I will have to shut it off before it overflows, because it will overflow into here. And I'm at 20 inches of mercury. I'm at 25. Heading to 30. Now, as I'm looking at my container, I can see bubbles floating to the top. And depending on what kind of material you look, what kind of material you have, my lid's kind of not very clear, but you might be able to see down in there. Some of it gets very violent bubbly in there. You see all the bubbles up on the top, and with this rubber you probably have, it really doesn't set up for, I would say, 3 hours, but I have probably a couple good hours of working time before I better have my project under control. Okay, and here's my gauge. If you want to take a look at that gauge, I'm at, it says 30, I can pull it a little bit farther. Okay, and I'm past 29. My material is really bubbling on the top.
You can see your plexiglass lid too. Warped.
See all the bubbles on the top? Okay, now take a look at this. This was perfectly flat when we started, but now look underneath there if you can, and how much pressure. That Lexan is like what the Pope Mobile's windshield's made out of, you know? And that's really, really sucked in here. So that tells you it's pulling a pretty good vacuum. And you can leave it in here, it depends. Okay, now I'm almost to overflowing too. It has come up to the very, very top. It's nearly overflowing, so I want to watch it. I don't think it's gonna go too high, but if it did, I would let off a little of the vacuum. You can let off a little bit and it'll go back down, then close it again. Now, depending on how much working time you have, pay attention to that, because you don't want your stuff to start setting up in here. And like I said, I've got probably 2 good hours of working time with this particular product, and I can leave it in there an hour if I didn't forget and come back and it's still very pourable. So we'll let it sit for just a minute.
Do you have one to take off? Like the oven, the cooking show, or no? No?
Good.
Whoops.
You want to tell them about that?
Yeah.
This is one of your favorite new products.
Well, it's been a pretty good seller. We got, this is a Velva scrub, but we got Velva lock. Velva lock is in stock. People have been calling and asking. We've been out of stock after our first shipment. So
we can't keep it in.
Can't keep it in. It is back in stock and ready, and everyone's just, it's too good to be true. You spray it and you walk away, and that can't be real.
To preserve the velvet on your antlers.
Yep. And they said it's stood the test of time. They've done a few mounts, and it's lasted 15 years, and it's as good as day one.
And it's not an injectable, although some people do, right?
Yep.
It's more of a spray on the outside.
Yep. Spray and walk away.
Sets your hair, sets your skin.
Within 72 hours.
We've been hearing a lot of awesome reviews on it.
There's a lot. Everyone's really liking it. So it's a product that we're carrying. It'll be in the catalog. It's online now. $29.95.
And that's your giveaway today, right?
We are giving one away today. So make sure to like and share the videos to get your chance for our giveaways every week.
Told you I had some up here, didn't I? But I didn't.
You did. You got the velvet scrub.
Kinda. And what's the velvet scrub? Tell us about that.
This is new to us too, but this is the blood remover, and they have pictures of, they took a skin and had blood all over his white one and put it out in the sun, let it dry up, put this on, scrubbed it right out. So, velvet scrub.
Somebody called today and I said, all I could say is I can't wait for some velvet antlers to come in to try it on. I do not have personal experiences, but I have talked to several credible taxidermists that can't say enough about it.
So I was talking to the guy that created this, and he gave me the spiel, and I wrote it down. I don't have it with me now, but basically whatever is in this product goes, because when you die, your blood clots, and then your hair follicles are stuck there. And what it does is it breaks that up and lets
I'll let you know.
Yeah, it lets the blood seep out. And you do it skull cap up, tips down, and spray it, walk away, and you'll come in within 72 hours, and it is all blood out.
A lot of people are really saying it's great stuff.
Yeah, so get yours today so you're prepared for your next set of velvet antlers. Hunters are taking it out in the field with them too and doing it right away so they can get it as fresh as can be.
You can put it in the freezer, but I think fresher is the better.
The antlers?
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, I'm going to take this out now. So I'm going to release my valve, and that's letting air into my chamber.
Will it take blood out of a pronghorn cape?
You will have to let us know, but
They said
say yes.
Yes. What was it? Our goats are white, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, but they have a
goat?
hide, and it was, I don't know, Billy Goat Gruff. But they did it, and it was very impressive. I'll
Okay,
put the pictures out tomorrow.
Pour this in without disturbing your icicles.
Is that disturbing it? This one looks a little close.
And once you get it about halfway up, you'll still be able to see where you're at.
I don't know if I'm the one for the job. How am I not creating more
Bubbles? Oh, you
Yeah.
may. But they're, like I said, this is thin enough viscosity that it will float out.
Oh, yeah.
And then you keep going as far as you have liquid for.
These two are gonna be a little close.
This is so easy to do, even a beginner can do it, as you
Yeah.
can see.
I am a beginner, that's for sure. Brett.
And then you can maybe scoop it out with this if you want to.
I feel like
Oh, good. You're fine. You're good enough.
Good?
Yep, that's enough. Try not to go over them,
oh,
because we've got to get them out.
rules. Okay. That's a pretty good pour.
Okay, now for the cooking show. Somewhere. Oh, here it is.
You did have one.
I do have
You're
one.
so prepared.
Now,
Do you move them now or no?
this is just oil,
Can I move it now or
if
no?
you think you have to.
I feel like this-
This is what we use is oil-based clay, and so this morning I had made one yesterday. I pulled out all the sticks, and these don't want to come out. Just as if they do come out, that's great, but they don't want to come out most often very good. So what I did was I put the whole thing in the freezer, got my clay hard, and then by wiggling it, the clay was rock hard, and it will pull out. There were a couple of them that did not come out as good as I liked, so I took the air compressor and I shot air around them. Now, I should have a really nice silicone mold of icicles, and it really should be good for hundreds of icicles. Icicles don't have a lot of undercuts, so it's not going to be hard on the mold to make them. Oops, there's some that didn't get mixed, did it?
Oh my goodness.
Down at the bottom.
Rookie mistake.
That was too. I did it in the cup. But anyway, that's what we have, and I can make icicles out of there. And next week, that's what we're going to show them. We're going to show you how to use casting scenery resin, and we're going to.
That's what you would pour in here to make it?
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And we're going to take this, and we're going to pour scenery resin down in there, and we're going to pull out crystal clear icicles. So we're going to show them how to do that.
Perfect.
Now what?
Well, you know what? What's on sale for this week for live then?
So we've got the Ice-A-Coat, we've got the RTV mold release, then we have the, let's see.
It's cold.
Yeah, it's cold. It's not going to set up very fast.
I love peeling this stuff. So check out our Facebook section on our website, because you can get all the stuff that we talk about for 15% off through Friday at midnight. So make sure to check that out.
So yeah, it's the stir sticks, the clear scenery resin, the RTV silicone molding rubber, and the Ice-A-Coat.
Yep.
Is all 15% off until tomorrow night at 11:59 p.m.
Perfect.
Good.
Sounds good. So check that out. Give us a call if you have any questions. The Velvelock's in, so make sure to take advantage of that. Our driftwood, we are out of the small and medium right now, but we have another shipment coming, so we'll let you know as soon as that comes in.
And we have beautiful artificial driftwood.
We do.
Beautiful artificial driftwood.
So that is a fantastic substitute if you can't get away from the real and you can't get it right now. It's
all
nice
good
stuff.
pieces.
Easy to work with. So give us a call, 1-800-488-3256. And the winner, the giveaway for liking and sharing, make sure you like and share. For Velvelock, the winner is Stephen Eastman. So congratulations, Stephen. You got yourself Velvelock coming. And this is just in time.
Good product. Everybody says it's absolutely great stuff.
And we'll let you know. We'll do a live as soon as we get the antlers in and show it. But thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next week. Hopefully Brett will be back so that I don't have to sit on this side of the camera. But it was fun.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. I don't know. I want to stay there. Talk to you guys later.